Hello everyone. Happy anniversary of IGP. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A wonderful day, all of you. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional free webinar. Thank you all for joining with us in this session. My lovely audience, today I am your host. I am Kamrul, coordinator of IGP from Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored to host this webinar. And it's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar. Once again, thank you all again for joining with us in this wonderful session. And it's my humble request to you that you stay with us till end. Before we have completed our 719 webinars successfully, today I will be presenting webinar number 720, and the topic is leadership approach in the changing world. Today we have a speaker from Philippines. I think everyone knows him well as he is the regular host of IGP. Today he is the speaker of IGP. For first time, our speaker name is Gopur M. Panimba. He is assistant professor for designated as principal at the Memorial Polytechnic State College. He is a TEFL certified teacher. He is also certified peer reviewer. He is also certified high impact inspirational speaker, and finally he is also certified life skill and self discovery course. Before studying our program, I request everyone to share this webinar in your newsfeed and social media. Let's welcome our speaker to the screen.
Yes, thank you, Sir Kamrul, for that very nice introduction. And of course, first and foremost, I would like to say kudos and congratulations to IGP for its anniversary. And it's really kudos to IGP for making this far. And of course, I would like to say thank you in advance, especially to Sir Kaushik Data, and of course to Sir Kamrul for the trust and confidence, and for making me a part of IGP, and now from hosting to speaking. All right. So it's really a pleasure being part of IGP. And of course, we would like to express our healthy thanks to all our live audience for letting us know that they are there to support us all the way. I mean, every single day of our webinars, they are there to keep on supporting us. And so, for that reason, we really appreciate that one. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your engagement and for making IGP a part of your day every single day.
Thank you, sir. In the comment box, sir, मैं मेरी बात congratulations you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Sasha, share your screen, please.
Okay, so can I share my screen now? I hope it will. All right, so how about that one?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, you can start your presentation.
All right, so here we go. All right, so if there was a time for effective leadership, it is right now, actually. In a time of global crisis that most people did not see coming, fear is palpable. The current crisis is bringing about rapid and multi level change in our priorities, our home life, and our ways of working. Now, the rapid changes brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, continue actually to pose extraordinary challenges for our leaders. In educational context, I know most of our live audience here are educators and teachers. The pandemic disrupted education for students as school closures occurred and all teaching moved to a virtual space. Our school leaders were actually forced to rethink, all right, the nature and degree of change necessary to support teachers and students in adapting new technologies and technical skills to navigate teaching and learning in a virtual environment. So the objective of my presentation this afternoon is actually to show you how relevant adaptive leadership approach in these trying times. All right, so I think it's not moving. Okay, here we go. So anyway, Kamrul was done with my introduction, so let's skip this one and proceed to the next slide. All right, so I'd like to begin by telling you the description of the adaptive leadership approach. As the name of the approach implies, adaptive leadership is about how leaders encourage people to adapt, to face and deal with problems, including challenges and changes. So the adaptive leadership actually focuses on the adaptations required of people in
Hello.
response to change. Yes, sir.
Sir, your slide is not moving.
Really? Okay, so let me go back to my first slide. I'm now in my first slide.
Yes, sir, it's your picture.
Okay, so let's move with the second slide. And if actually I am now in my third slide.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, so can you now see it? Okay, so where am I? So yes, it's on the number two description. It actually focuses, all right, on the adaptations required of people in response to changing environments. So, in other words, adaptive leaders prepare and encourage people to deal with change. So, the keyword here is change. Unlike other leadership approaches, which focus predominantly on the characteristics of the leader, adaptive leadership actually stresses the activities of the leader in relation to the work of followers in the context in which they find themselves. So, the development of the adaptive leadership framework emerged largely from the work of Heifetz and his associates, one of the brilliant scholars from Harvard University. That's Dr. Heifetz. And since then, this approach has occupied a unique place in the leadership literature. And the adaptive leadership actually has been used effectively to explain how leaders encourage effective change across multiple levels, including ourselves, organizational, community, and the societal. All right. So, although people often think of adaptive leadership as being a leader centered, it is actually more follower centered. Why? Because it focuses primarily on how leaders help others do the work they need to do in order to adapt to the challenges they face. So, generally speaking, adaptive leadership is concerned with how people change and adjust to new circumstances. So, this is very much relevant to the situation that we are in right now. So, in this presentation, I will emphasize the process leaders use to encourage others to grapple with difficult problems. In the leadership literature, Heifetz and his colleagues suggest that adaptive leadership, it's here on the screen, is the practice of mobilizing people to tackle tough challenges and thrive. And this is in contrast to emphasizing the position or characteristics of the leader. This definition suggests that leadership is concerned with the behaviors of leaders. The adaptive leaders actually engage in activities that mobilize, motivate, organize, orient, and focus the attention of others. In other words, adaptive leadership is about helping others to explore and change their lives. The goal of adaptive leadership, by the way, is to encourage people to change and to learn new ways of living so that they may be effectively meet their challenges and grow in the process. So, in other words, adaptive leadership here is the behavior of and the actions undertaken by leaders to encourage others to address and resolve changes that are central in their lives. All right. So let's turn now to the different viewpoints of adaptive leadership. So the process of adaptive leadership incorporates ideas from four different viewpoints. All right. A systems perspective, a biological perspective, a service orientation perspective, and a psychotherapy perspective. So the adaptive leadership actually takes a system perspective, all right? In that this approach assumes that many problems people face are actually embedded in complicated interactive systems. So the problems are viewed as complex with many facets,
Hello, sir.
dynamic, yes,
Sir, slide is not moving now.
it's not moving again. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to the previous slide. Okay, so I am now on the definition of adaptive leadership. So I have to move to the next slide, which is the four different viewpoints. Can you see it now?
No, no, sir.
Oh my, so what am I going to do with this? I think it has something to do with the connection. This is a kind of, uh, adaptive challenges. I'm referring to the internet connection that is beyond our control. It's really out of hands. Okay, so I am now in four different viewpoints. Okay, how about this one?
Sir, no, no, sir. I can see it. You can remove the slide and then again.
Okay, so let me go back to the description and then I will proceed to the next slide. That's adaptive leadership defined, what I'm seeing on my screen. Okay, my apology really for, you know, I think there is something wrong going on with the internet connection. So let me proceed with the four different viewpoints where I am currently discussing the slide. How about this one?
No, sir. There is no sense. I request to remove this slide and then again enter.
Okay. So what do you suggest? Am I going to stop sharing and then share it again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me do it. Let me do it for you. Let's
It's
go
now
back.
moving. It's now moving, sir.
It's not moving.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
so
moving now. It's moving now.
it's moving. So let me share it again. Okay, so are we still, are we on the same page now? I am now viewing
Now,
the four different viewpoints.
now I see four different viewpoints.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm presenting right now.
Move to the next slide.
Okay, I have not yet done with this slide. All right, so let's try moving to the other slide. Okay, I am now in the model of adaptive leadership.
No,
It's a
sir.
vis.
I see four different viewpoints.
Okay, so let me go back to the four different viewpoints. All right, I am now in the slide that with the title four different viewpoints.
Yes,
Okay, so
sir.
I have to click on the next slide. Okay,
But there is
so
no sense.
what are you seeing now?
I see four different viewpoints.
Oh my, it's not really moving. Okay, so I am now in four different viewpoints. All right. So anyway, let me finish my discussion on this slide. All
Okay.
right. So yes, going back to the biological perspective. It's somewhere here. To adaptive leadership recognizes that people develop and evolve as a result of having to adapt to both internal cues or state and internal environments. So the ability to adapt actually allows people to thrive in new circumstances. All right. And adaptive leadership assumes a service orientation perspective here because it is very similar to a physician where an adaptive leader uses his or her expertise or authority to serve the people by diagnosing their problems and helping them find solutions. All right, so that service orientation perspective. Now let's proceed now the psychotherapy perspective. All right, so under psychotherapy perspective, this explain how people accomplish adaptive work. Okay, adaptive leaders understand that people need a supportive environment and adapt more successfully when they face difficult problems directly and learn how to distinguish between fantasy and reality. All right, so this include resolving internal conflicts and learning new attitudes and behaviors. So when you take this all together in one, these four viewpoints help us explain and characterize the nature of adaptive leadership. All right, so I have to move now to the next slide. I hope we will be on the same page now. I am now presenting a slide with the title A Model of Adaptive Leadership. It's a visual presentation of an adaptive leadership, and this is going to be the central focus of our discussion for this afternoon's webinar. All right, so we have here the situational challenges. Under situational challenges, we have technical challenges. All right, technical and adaptive challenges and adaptive challenges. On the middle part, we have uh, the major point to consider here when we talk about adaptive leadership is the leader behaviors. Now, under leader behaviors, we have get on the balcony. Second is to identify the adaptive challenge. And then we have to regulate distress. Four is to maintain disciplined attention. Five is to give the work back to the people. And number six is to protect leadership voices from below. And on the right side of this visual presentation is the adaptive work wherein there is a holding environment where interaction, face to face, I mean, communication between the L here that's leader and F that's followers, okay, take place. So, as I was saying earlier, this is the center of our discussion for today's webinar, and I am going to expand on this point, excuse me, on my succeeding slide. So here we go. All right. So let's begin with on the situational challenges and allow me to elaborate on this point. So the practice of leadership requires that leaders address three kinds of situational challenges. All right. So there are challenges or problems that are primarily technical in nature, challenges that have both a technical and adaptive dimension, and challenges that are primarily adaptive in nature. So, while addressing technical challenges is important, adaptive leadership is concerned with helping people address adaptive challenges. So, in technical challenges here, these are actually problems in the workplace, community, or self that are clearly defined with known solutions that can be implemented through existing organizational procedures. So, these are the problems that can be solved by experts or by those who have what Dr. Heifetz calls a repertoire of skills or procedures based on current know-how. All right? So for technical challenges, people look to the leader for a solution and they accept the leader's authority to resolve the problem. So, for example, if employees at a tax accounting firm are frustrated about a newly adopted tax software program, the manager can actually assess the software issues. He can identify the weaknesses and problems with the software. He can even contact the company that provided the software and have the programs modified in accordance with the accountant's needs in that tax firm. So, in this example, the problem is identifiable, it has an achievable solution, and the manager at the tax firm has the authority to address the problem through the accepted structures and procedures of the organization. So the employees look to the manager to solve the technical problem and accept his or her authority to do so. All right. Some challenges have actually both a technical and adaptive dimension. Now, in this case, they are challenges that are clearly defined but do not have distinct, straightforward solutions within the existing organizational system. So, the responsibility of tackling this type of challenge is shared between the leader and the people. So, the leader may act as a resource for others and provide support, but the people need to do the work. They need to learn to change and adapt. All right. Okay, so that's for technical and adaptive challenges. And central to the process of adaptive leadership are the adaptive challenges. That's the third one. Now, adaptive challenges are problems that are not clear cut or easy to identify. They cannot be solved solely by the leader's authority or expertise or through the normal ways of doing things in the organization, because adaptive challenges require that leaders encourage others to define challenging situations and implement solutions. Not easy to tackle and often resisted, adaptive challenges are difficult because they usually require changes in people's priorities, beliefs, roles, and values. And this is exactly what is happening to us right now with the emergence of this COVID 19 pandemic. All right. This is a kind of problem or challenge, all right, in the workplace, be it educational institution or business institution that cannot hardly, provide an immediate solution because it's not actually clear cut, all right, and this would in the process of adapting to this kind of situation, this would require a changes in people's priorities, beliefs, roles, and values. That's why we are seeing some of the people who keep on resisting with the vaccination. There are those teachers, especially in the educational context, where teachers are actually resisting against uh, the use of virtual classroom platform, probably because of limited knowledge. So this is just an example. All right. Okay. So allow me now to proceed to the next slide. All right. So allow me to draw your attention to the six leader behaviors or activities that play a pivotal role in the process of adaptive leadership. Now, these behaviors are general prescriptions for leaders when helping others to confront difficult challenges and the inevitable changes that accompany them. So, let me expand on this point. All right. So, number one is get on the balcony. Getting on the balcony is actually a metaphor for stepping out of the fray and finding perspective in the midst of a challenging situation. So it is somewhat like an allusion to a dance floor and that one needs to be above the dancing to understand what's going on below. Because being on the balcony enables the leader to see the big picture. So, this is somewhat like a conceptual skill, all right? Our leader today needs to have this conceptual skill to see, to conceptualize the whole organization and sees for himself what's really going on, for him to be able to see the whole picture, the big pictures of what is really happening. And on that balcony, the leader is momentarily away from the noise, activity, and chaos of a situation. That is to allow him or her to gain a clearer view of reality. And this allows the leader to identify value and power conflicts among people, the ways they may be avoiding work, and other dysfunctional reactions to change. Now, to understand what it means to stand on the balcony, imagine yourself as the principal of an elementary school. From the balcony, you see all the pieces that go into educating your students, including requirements, teachers and staff, the budgets, teacher evaluations, parents, and discipline, not to mention the children themselves. So, from above, you can see how these issues relate to and affect one another and who is dancing with which partners. So, all while working toward the common goal of educating the children, right? And in number two, that's identify adaptive challenges. All right, so in addition to getting on the balcony and observing the dynamics of the complex situations people face, leaders must analyze and diagnose these challenges. And central to this process is differentiating between technical and adaptive challenges because failures in leadership often occur because leaders fail to diagnose challenges correctly. So, the adaptive leadership process suggests that leaders are most effective using adaptive leadership behaviors for adaptive challenges and technical leadership for technical challenges. In approaching challenges with the wrong style of leadership is actually a maladaptive. It does not work out. If challenges are technical in nature, leaders can fix the problem with their own expertise. So, for example, in a manufacturing environment, problems that arise in scheduling or product sales, quotas, facility expansion, or raising the minimum wage are all actually problems that the leader can use his or her authority to resolve. However, it is essential that a leader also know when his or her authority is not sufficient or appropriate to address a particular change. All right. So for number three, that's regulate distress. Now, a third behavior or activity important for adaptive leaders is to regulate distress. Psychologically, we all have a need for consistency to keep our beliefs, attitudes, and values the same. In fact, it is quite natural for individuals to be more comfortable when things are predictable and their way of doing things stays the same. But adaptive challenges create the need to change, and the process of change creates uncertainty and distress for some people. So, feeling a certain level of distress during change is inevitable and even uh, useful for most. But feeling too much distress is counterproductive and can be debilitating. So, the challenge for a leader is to help others recognize the need for change, but not to become overwhelmed by the need for the change itself. So, the adaptive leader here needs to monitor the stress people are experiencing and keep it within a productive range or regulate it. All right. So we have here maintain discipline attention. So the fourth leader behavior here prescribed by the adaptive leadership process is to maintain discipline attention. Now, this means that the leader needs to encourage people to focus on the tough work they need to do. And this does not come easily. Why? Because people naturally do not want to confront change, particularly when it is related to changing their beliefs, values, or behaviors. It is actually common for all of us to resist change and strive for a sense of balance and equilibrium in our day to day experiences. People actually do not like things out of sync. So, when their sense of balance is disrupted by the need to change, it is natural for them to engage in avoidance behavior. So, this leader behavior is about helping people address change and not avoid it. Avoidance behaviors can actually take in many forms. People can just ignore the problem or even blame the problem on the authority or blame coworkers for the problem or even attack those who want to address problem and or maybe pretend a problem does not exist or work hard in areas unrelated to the problem. So, no matter the form of avoidance, the leader's task here is to mobilize and encourage people to drop their defenses and openly confront their problems. All right, so number five, that's uh, give the work back to the people. So, people actually want leaders to provide some direction and structure to their work, and they want to feel secure in what they are doing. They also want to actively participate in problem solving. So, too much leadership and authority can be debilitating to an organization, even decrease people's confidence to solve problems on their own, and suppress their creative capacities. Because overly directive leadership can result in people being dependent on their leaders and inhibit them from doing adaptive work. Even though it makes people feel comfortable and secure to have leaders tell them what to do, leaders need to learn ways to curtail their influence and shift problem shift problem solving back to the people involved because leaders need to be aware of and monitor the impact they have on others. So giving work back to the people requires a leader to be attentive to when he or she should drop back and let the people do the work that they need to do. This can be a fine line. Leaders have to provide direction, but they also have to say, this is your work. How do you think you want to handle it? So, for adaptive leaders, giving work back to the people means empowering people to decide what to do in circumstances where they feel uncertain, expressing disbelief in their ability to solve their own problems, all right? And encouraging the people to think for themselves rather than doing that thinking for them. All right. So on number six, we have protect leadership voices from below. Now, this final leader behavior here, all right, means that adaptive leaders have to be careful to listen and be open to the ideas of people who may be at the fringe, marginalized, or even deviant within the group or organization. This is actually a challenge because when the leader gives voice to an outgroup member, it is upsetting to the social equilibrium of the group. So, to be open to the ideas of low status individuals
Sorry for disconnected. You hope our speaker join again with us. We are waiting for our speaker. Congratulations, Jafar Malik from Pakistan. We have a special gift for you. We noticed that till date you attend most session with us. We will share a lifetime membership certificate for you. You can download it from our Facebook official page. Congratulations, Jafar Malik. Maybe there is internet connection problem in Philippines. Dear participants, let's we move to our quiz competition, and after that we join again with our speaker. For afternoon session, quiz code is only IGP. Let's we enjoy the short video. Dear participants, you can join this session by slido.com. Then you have to put the code, and the code is only IGP. First of all, you have to go to Chrome or any other browser. Then you have to go to slido.com, and then you have to put the code, and the code is IG. You can also scan our QR code from the screen to join this session, and also you can invite your friend in the comment box to join this session. After quiz competition, we join again with our speaker. Now 36 participants join with us. Dear participants, we will pick your name from the Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on your certificate. And top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate after the session from our official Facebook page. Now 38 participants already joined. We start our quiz competition after 1 minute later. Let's we start our quiz. We ready start. Our first question is Nesser's leadership capability in others is a relational capability or personal capability. 84% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is relational capability. On the leaderboard, the first position is Emilia and Refugio, and the second one is Cereline, and the third one is Quindiana January. Let's move to our next question. In leadership, that gives other the knowledge to complete a task. Is it authority or direction? Direction is the right answer. On the leaderboard now, first position is Celine, and the first position is Sariel Ann, and second one is Celine, and the third one is Jamia. Our next question is in leadership that gives others a reason for why they should do something. Is it inspiration or purpose? Sixty-three percent of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is purpose. On the leaderboard, Sariel and leading the first position, and the second one is Ginaline, and the third one is Katmila BJ. Our next question is define leadership. Is it guiding others to accomplish a mission or bossing around one's fears? 100% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is guiding others to accomplish a mission. On the leaderboard, now first position is Saryan, and the second one is Ginalin, and the third one is Cyrilin. Our next question is: in 21st century, the focus of an educational leadership is on dash. Is it build a learning culture or institutional leadership? Building a learning culture is the right answer. On the leaderboard, first position is Saryan, and the second one is Carmela Bijian, and the third one is Marip G. Bendulo. Our next question is: whose approach to change is being described? Changing small bites at a time. Is it action centered or piecemeal? Piecemeal is the right answer, and 44% of our participants give the correct answer. On the leaderboard, Saliel and leading the first position, and the second one is Carmela Bijian, and the third one is Joel Pannaso. Our next question is culture changing slowly or quickly? Slowly is the right answer. 57% of our participants give the correct answer. On the leaderboard, there is no sense. Let's move to our next question. What is democratic leadership? Is it group members are rarely trusted with decision, or group participation is highly encouraged in decision making? Group participation is highly encouraged in decision making is the right answer. On the leaderboard, there is no sense. Now we move to our next question. Leadership is the ability that don't influence and motivate people or to build professional network. To build professional network is the right answer. On the leaderboard, there is no sense. Let's we move to our last and final question. In terms of group risks, is it ethical leaders will discuss them during the initial session with clients, or an ethical leader should never discuss risks with a client? Ethical leaders will discuss them during the initial session with clients is the right answer. Congratulations of our top 10 quiz competition winners. I hope there is a technical problem in Slido. Yes, we got the top 10 quiz competition winners on the leaderboard. The first position is Sertian N, and the second one is Carmela Bijian, and the third one is Joel Vanasor, and the fourth one is Alex Xavier Alvarez, and the fifth one is Marip G. Pendulo, and the sixth one is Nicholas S. Largado, and the seventh one is Cyrillin, and the eighth one is Gianna Maripi, and the ninth one is Jigme Dorji, and the tenth one is Carmela Gini E. Banasa. Thank you, top 10 quiz competition winners. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate after the session from our Facebook official page. We are trying to connect with our speaker. Dear participants, we are sorry to say that we can't connect with our speaker. Maybe there is a network issue in Philippines. So today our program name is Leadership Approach in the Changing World, and program code is IGP0218. The program code is 0218. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate, and with code, you can claim your certificate anytime. And without an account on our website, you can visit only, but you can't do anything functionally. So, to download your certificate, you have to go to our website, and the website name is eduygp.com. First of all, you have to create an account, then you have to enroll the program, and after that you have to put the code, and the code is IGP0218, and after that you finally download your certificate. Once again, after downloading your certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP checking. Thank you very much for attending today's session. Stay home and stay safe.